Hey crafters, it's me, Jen Evers with Quality Crafts, and it's been requested that I do a card for a man. So today I'm working on a cascading or stretch card. And if you want to know how to make this base, down in the description bar I will leave the other video that I have on how to make this base in 3 minutes or less. I've already made the base today. What I want to work on is the fact that this is a manly card, so I went ahead and cut out some images. You can search for like deer silhouettes in Google and click enter, and these will come up. Not these exact ones, but you know, other ones. And then you can resize them in Word or whatever program you have on. I've got circles behind these guys because I'm going to add a little bit of color. So my manly colors that I chose today would be Mellow Moss, Bordering Blue, and Going Gray. Just because they're kind of a lighter color, I don't want to overpower the black. I just want a little color behind them. So I'm going to go ahead and sponge those on. And by that I mean I have my little pieces of felt inside each color, and I have one tool, and I use that for everything. So this one is going to be gray. Just going to put on enough color until I'm happy with it, and I don't want it, like I said, I don't want it to be black because I still want these to pop off there, but I want a little bit of a color when they're put on the card. So maybe just a little bit more, and I think that's pretty good. So I go ahead and I pull this off. I leave it inside the ink so that I can find it again and no need to look for it, and I'm going on to Bordering Blue. This doesn't have a lot of blue pigment in it, so it's going to be a little bit lighter of a blue, which is why I chose it. It's still slightly different than the gray. And I'm going to move on to Mellow Moss, which is a lighter shade of green. Totally go with darker colors if that's what you're looking for in your project. And then all three colors together, just very nicely light muted colors. I think that I really want to make the edges darkened, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And the last one being my gray color. When I push down on my ink, I twist it to make sure that the ink transfers onto this. Just kind of smashing it up and down like that, like banging it, doesn't really get the ink to transfer on there. I just thought I would mention that. Unless you have a really, really wet ink pad, then in that case, if you bang on it, I guess some of the ink would transfer. So now I just want to make sure that I have one lined up for each one. And that's how they'll end up looking, and I'm going to put them on the card. The next step to do is to pick some kind of a pattern paper that you want for the front base that kind of matches these three cards. I'm going to go ahead and measure this front part so that I can end up cutting off just a little bit of that corner. And I chose this black. It's got some teeny tiny lines that crisscross, and this number paper. It'll go nicely with the three colors that I've picked, and it's going to be a birthday card, so the numbers will be a nice added touch to that. The width is 4 1/4, and the height up to the peak of this front panel only is 4. So 4 1/4 by 4, I'm going to go ahead and cut my paper down. The black one first because I want this one to be about the same size as the panel. So 4 1/4 by 4. Okay, and that's going to fit on there. The only thing is that this part right here, I want to cut that off, but I want to make sure that I'm pretty accurate. So I'm just going to use a quick sheet. I'm going to line it up at the bottom. And then where that line goes, I'm going to find that where that paper is, and I'm going to go ahead and just press down with a scoring tool, and it's going to make that line for me. And then I think from this side you'll be able to see those 2 score lines. Yeah, you can see them. So that's where I'm going to cut it off. And I'm going to probably just cut it off on the inside, towards the inside of this, so that it's slightly smaller than the original one. There may be a little bit of a white base around it. A white edging is what I'm saying. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for the edges. I'm just going to cut off a small piece from either side. The bottom and the side, and then a tad from the other side. And when I put it back on there, it should be a little bit smaller than the base. Do you see that, where there's a little white around the whole thing? And then I'm going to take this piece and use it as a template to go ahead and cut this one, and then I can cut this one slightly smaller as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and hand cut this part first, and then I'm going to use my trimmer to do the exact same thing that I did to the other side, or the other piece I mean, and I'm just going to make it that much smaller so it fits in the middle of this one, and then I have a black border. Okay, so right now I've got 2 pieces that are the same, and I want this one to be like a black border like that, so it's slightly smaller. So I am going to go ahead and do that. All my pieces are set now, so I'm going to go ahead and put this together. I'm going to use my Aleene's Tacky Glue mixed with water in my little fine tip bottle. And you can find this at Tilly's Bridge, or you can order some that are a lot like it on Amazon pretty cheaply, that are made by Darice, I believe. And I'm going to put one on each one, and I'm just going to put a little glue at the bottom here. Glue them down. Okay, and then I'm going to use my ATG to put these 2 pieces together. Move my card out of the way here. And I went ahead and I'm going to glue this right onto the card yet. And this will make your card a lot sturdier. You can also, I think I say that in my video, I also give you ideas on how to make this sturdier, but if you put a panel right across the front, that will really help. Alright, and then this is a piece of paper that is exactly the same as the black. I'm just going to put it right across the middle piece to finish up my design. I think I could probably get rid of this piece now. Let's just get rid of that. Keep our pieces around here. try to get this on pretty centered. So I pulled out one of these really cool bottle caps, and I'm going to put that right in the center. And this will be a card that I'm probably going to give in person. I'm not going to mail that with that bulky bottle cap on. The back of this has a matching type of paper, so all I did was stick it in here and cut a 1-inch circle, because that's going to fit right inside of there. And for my sentiment, I'm using this called Prickly Pear, Clearly Beautiful. Let's see what it's called. I'm not sure. That's about it. But right up here in the corner is a little stamp that says a gift for you. So if I give this card, I'll probably be giving some sort of a gift card or something small. So I'm going to pull out my STAZON. I'm going to stamp that in black right on that 1-inch. And I'm using STAZON just because I want a nice, crisp black image. And then I'm just going to wipe that off, put the stamp back. If you wipe it off right away, the STAZON will come right off. And I'm thinking that probably I will want a little bit of black around there to mimic what I did around the deer where I darkened the edges. I'm going to do that with some Memento black. I'm just going to do the very edges here. I'll make it stand out a little bit more inside there. And then I'm just going to, not going to hot glue that one. I think I'm going to use a glue dot just because I want it to stay. So I've got some dots here. And these are pretty flat because I don't want it to be, I don't want it to stick up. I just want it to stay. So we're just going to drop it in there and then pull another one off. Maybe a couple of them. I'm going to do 3 of them on the back. And then I'm going to stick that down right in the center. Okay, and that holds really well. So let's get rid of this. And we'll decide how we want these to go. And I'm thinking probably a couple in the front. And then maybe one in the center so that he sticks up. That would look really cool. It's gonna come out like this. So what'll happen is these guys will look like they're kind of spreading out there. And then this guy, whoops, he will be kind of like right in the middle. And I think I might have to put him in the back here, or maybe tucked under, because that part's going to bend up. So you got to keep that in mind. So let's just go ahead and put the first 2 on. I didn't put the pin back in. Should have done that. There we go. And glue him in here. Keeping in mind that it's going to bend there, right there in the middle. So you don't want to put him too close to the middle. Same with this guy. I'm going to give him some space. And I'm going to move them up so they're about the same height. Okay, so those do stand up nicely. And we'll figure out how we want to put this one in. I want him to go on there, so I think what I'm going to do is cut. Show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and cut a couple of pieces of paper like this. And I'm going to fold them in half. One for each side. And I'm going to glue them on this space right in here. So I'm going to glue one there, and I'm going to glue one to the other side. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I'm creating kind of a base here where that last deer can stick right onto there. And then the card can still bend, and he can sit right on top of those two tabs. So I want to make sure that he gets on top of the tabs, but that he still sticks up enough that we can see him. So now can you see how there's an opening there for him to stick on there, but the card can still move? And then it'll stand up. It'll stand up like that. I'll leave pictures at the end so that you can see it. But there is a manly card. And if your man doesn't hunt or doesn't do the deer thing, you can replace these with any other kind of imagery or black silhouette of what his favorite item is. Thanks for stopping by today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you guys next video.